Former New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu helped lead the charge to remove Confederate statues in his city. Now he's leading an initiative that calls for a reckoning with the legacy of racism. The nonprofit E Pluribus Unum works to achieve social and racial justice in the U.S. The effort's name is taken, of course, from the U.S. motto that means out of many, one.
Its first report, Divided by Design, interesting title, offers a comprehensive look at race and class issues in the South. Landrieu and his team talked to more than 800 people from 28 communities in 13 different states. He joins us at the table to unpack what he found out. How did you decide where you were going and who you were going to talk to specifically?
I'm going to answer that question, but I'm stunned. I went to Peter Luger's for my honeymoon.
You did?
And it was spectacular.
Okay.
All right. For the record, I don't know who that guy is that wrote that review. I'm not that old. Anyway, listen, we traveled across the South. It was terrific. We went to 28 different counties. We went to 13 different states. So we crisscrossed.
But who are the people that you talked to?
We talked to everybody. Well, everybody that is African American, white, you know, educated, non-college educated. I mean, we wanted to get on the ground and talk to and listen to people. We conducted over 800 interviews. Some of them lasted longer than a half an hour or 45 minutes, where we talked to individual people so that we can listen and hear and get out of this noise that you hear all the time from Washington, D.C., and get back on the ground.
And so you came up with Divided by Design. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, what it means is that there is a big difference the way people see the world. Everybody wants equal opportunity for themselves. They want their kids to have a better life. But the African-American community views the obstacles very differently from the white community.
Yep.
White folks that responded to the survey think that racism is just an individual act of malice to another person that looks different from them. African-Americans say that's not our experience. While they accept that as a form of racism because they feel it every day, they say the institutions that we have are still baked with institutional designs. And so the point is, the country is the way it is because we designed it this way.
Right.
And so if we want a different outcome, we have to redesign it. So criminal justice reform, for example, would fit into this. Education reform, how you gerrymander legislative districts, et cetera, et cetera.
But Mitch, how do you advance this conversation? Because to get to those things you talk about, you have to get support from the white community to do it.
Yeah, there's no question. And the first thing that has to happen is people need to get to know each other, spend time with each other, see each other's humanity, and you have to do this on the ground. You have to do it family to family, neighborhood to neighborhood, church to church, team to team, and community to community.
But you heard many white people say, listen, this happened. How can you hold us accountable for something that happened 150 years ago?
No question about it.
And when it comes to reparations, what would you say?
The way that we talk about this is, listen, it may not be your fault.
Yes.
But it is certainly your responsibility. So in the last segment, you had climate change. You know what the impact's going to be in a couple years, demographic changes. If we don't get together across race and class, the chances of us dealing with those complicated issues that are going to stress us, it's going to make the country worse. And finally, the reason we use E Pluribus Unum is because the founding fathers from our origin said, out of many we are one. Yeah. Now, the good thing about the poll is that everybody thinks that diversity is a strength, not a weakness. And of course, that issue is being challenged on the national level. Yeah. On the ground in America, most people in the South that responded to this survey like the fact that they live around it. But we're kind of segregated in isolation right now. Yeah. And we have to work our way out of that if we want to be strong and be the country that we all say we aspire to be.
Many of these issues come up in the Democratic primary race for president here. And I know you said you're not going to run in 2020, but I'm curious, if someone asked you to be vice president, would you be interested?
No.
Oh, really?
No. I'm going to let them
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you either.
I don't believe you.
We'll talk later, Peter Lucas.
Yes.
I love that steak.
Yes.
You opted not to, as we mentioned, you're not running. You've been very supportive of former Vice President Joe Biden. Are you still a fan?
Well, I haven't endorsed anybody yet, but people have asked me, and I think he is our best chance to do what I think the country really wants to do, which is turn a corner and have a new president so that we can reclaim what America really is supposed to be.
What do you think of his campaign so far?
Yeah. I think people that are worried about it are more worried. I think he's doing fine. Think about it. He's been out there. He's gotten everything but the kitchen sink thrown at him from everybody. He's still standing. He's still leading. He's still doing well. It's a long campaign. There are lots of candidates. From my perspective, any one of them would be exponentially better than what we have right now. And given what you're seeing in Washington today, the country wants to make a change, and I think they will.
What do you think about the lieutenant colonel who testified yesterday, highly credentialed, and now he's being attacked as someone
I think that
who's not patriotic?
Here's the thing. At some point in time, the senators need to put their country above their party. And the information that's coming out from people who are Republicans that were appointed by the president, that served this country honorably and actually were wounded, who themselves are very credible people, should be given great weight. Impeachment is a very sobering thing. It should be handled that way, and the Congress should do their duty. The American people are smart enough to figure this out over time. The other impeachment process that Nixon went through took a long, long period of time. So I think walking through this very soberly, but to attack somebody's credibility like he or the ambassador to testify, they're very credible witnesses, and their stories ring true from anybody that's ever served on a jury, and I've served too. It sounds pretty credible that they were able to see and hear and know what occurred, and then their stories make sense. So let the evidence fall where it may, but don't malign this man's character who bled for our country.
There was one thing from your report that I thought was interesting where you said talent is equally distributed, but opportunity isn't.
That did not come from me. That came from high school students in Louisville, Kentucky, who looked at me and said, Mr. Mayor, we're out here, we're working hard, we're all good, we're smart, but we can't get ahead. Talent out here is equally distributed, but our opportunities are not. And if the country could just stay focused on that so that everybody has equal opportunity and everybody has a fair shot, we've got a chance as a country to get where we say we want to be.
Thank you for nudging our focus in that direction.
Sure.
Landrieu.
Great
We
to see you.
appreciate it.